Game of the Gods by Paolo Maurensig is the story of Malik Mir Sultan Khan, the humble servant who for a brief moment became a prince on the world stage of chess. Poised between East and West, with a natural talent at chaturanga, the ancient Indian ancestor of chess, the turbaned chess player remains an outsider and an enigma for all who encounter him, from a humble servant tending elephants in a jungle in India to an unlikely champion who in London takes the chess world by storm. Malik's advances and setbacks keep readers on their toes. The challenge was to maintain an apt tone throughout the shifting destinies of his adventurous life and not slip into theatrical melodrama. And because he is a mystery and an outcast to the world, it was important to ensure that he did not remain an alien to the reader, which Maurensig accomplishes with his sometimes droll, always considered prose, giving us the surprising portrait of a character who continually overturns the image of the champion and our Western prejudices. I'm reading from chapter 9, where Malik arrives in London with his master, who wants to show off his talents and humiliate the British colonialists. Upon our arrival, there was a crowd waiting for us. The British newspapers had anticipated our coming, some with fanciful headlines such as "The Turk Brought to Life" or "The Indian Genius." Everyone was intrigued by my great talent that allowed me to compete with experienced masters. They found it hard to believe that I had never opened a chess book in my life. But some hostility could already be read between the lines. I have not forgotten what journalists began fabricating about me from the first moment I set foot on British soil. Was I or was I not a British subject? And if I was, how come I didn't speak their language? All the newspapers, starting with the London Gazette, emphasized the fact that although I had a natural gift for playing chess, I was actually an illiterate, and this hurt me deeply. I wasn't really an illiterate, but according to my agreement with Sir Umar Khan, I had to seem as much like one as possible. My master was convinced that brilliance stood out better against a background of sound ignorance, and so to please him, I agreed to play the part of a completely ignorant boy. If Sir Umar Khan had not taken me in, I would have been a farmer. Instead, everything converged to trace a very different destiny for me, consisting of successes, but also of inevitable failures. Despite having great prospects for my future, the prince always maintained that distance with me which distinguishes the master from his servant. Except for the rare occasions when he invited me to sit before him for a game, the rest of the time I was his humble servant through and through. Just like the other two boys in his service, always ready to fulfill, or better yet, to anticipate his every desire, to scratch his cheek, so to speak, even before the mosquito landed on it. We had landed in England in late spring, and the championship was to take place in August. The maharaja felt it was necessary for me to become acclimatized before being able to seriously play in a qualified tournament. It was one thing to play with amateurs, another to compete with champions. I can visualize myself mirrored from head to toe in the revolving door of a grand hotel where the British Chess Championship, the most important tournament in the United Kingdom, is about to begin. We are in Ramsgate in the rainy summer of 1929. I am wearing a long tweed jacket, knickerbocker trousers that expose my scrawny calves, made even more noticeable by white stockings, and stiff, tight shoes, a real torture for someone like me and who until a few months before was used to going barefoot. On my head is a white turban that towers above me by several inches at least. At my appearance, I hear murmuring and some laughter in the room. I take a seat in front of the chessboard and hold out my hand to my opponent, who pretends not to notice. Lighting a cigarette, he blows smoke in my face. Nevertheless, I smile. It is in my nature as a servant to smile. Naturally, I was a favorite subject of photographers who vied to portray me. Small and scrawny, I made a poor impression in group photos compared to the players of the time. I looked like an interloper who was there by accident, an amateur wanting to take advantage of the opportunity to be immortalized among the greats. In me, there was absolutely nothing of that which I saw in the other champions. I was neither willful nor cunning, much less elegant. I was just a poor Indian boy with a lost expression. How was it possible that this illiterate had so easily defeated all the British champions, all the chess minds? And so the detractors took up the same old refrain. The detested epithet of idiot savant appeared between the lines again, an expression that would plague me for the rest of my life.